So sigma notation, it's just a symbol that we use instead of the words the sum of. Okay, so sigma of T or is the sum of all the values of T or as or changes from 1 to n. So when I do an example, it's actually much easier to see what this means. So sigma as or goes from 1 to 6. This is my T or, okay? So what that means is the sum of all the answers for this as or goes from 1 up to 6. So that would mean or goes from 1 plus the next one is or is 2. The next one is or is 3, and so on up to or is 6. Sorry. Okay, so it's based.
An example, yeah?
Well, it's not a set example yet. I'll do a whole example of them, okay? But this is just explaining to you what that actually means. Okay, so what it means is they're telling you you can get your series of numbers by filling in or is 1 all the way up to or is 6. Okay, so this is actually the series of numbers. 2 ones is 2 plus 1 is 3. 2 twos is 4 plus 1 is 5. 7, 9, 11, and 13. Okay, so you're.
So is this it's like the maximum that you should do? Is that what it means?
No, in this question it went from 1 to 6. It can go from anything depending on the question. Okay, so it can go from 0 to 4, it can go from 2 to 10. So they'll give you this as part of the question, and you just need to know what that means. That means you're filling in or as 1 first up to 6. Okay, and it's a series because sigma means sum of and sum means add. Okay, so to actually get the answer to this, I'd need to add all of these together because the sum of means add them all. Okay, so will we do an example of that, how they'll actually ask it?
Yeah.
Can I get rid of the board? Okay. Okay, use the sigma notation to represent this series for 45 terms. Okay, so for sigma I need the sum of and then I need T of or. So really I need to find out what is my general term for this series. Okay, so I'm looking for Tn. In this case, A is my first term, 2, and D is my common difference, which is 4. Okay, so just fill it into your Tn formula, A plus n minus 1 times D. So that's 2 plus 4 by n, 4n, 4 by minus 1, minus 4. So Tn is 4n minus 2. Now we know when we use sigma, we're not talking about Tn anymore, we're talking about T or. Okay, so my answer to this is sigma 4 or minus 2, and or goes from 1, and they want 45 terms, so or goes from 1 to 45. And that's my answer to that one, okay? So that's if they ask you to write it using sigma. We'll do one now in a minute where they give us sigma and they want us to do it out. Have you any issues with that?
Does the N just change to or?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. Part 2 of that, so, or example 2 maybe.
Miss, why is the or 1 and not 2, like where it starts?
No, or means you're going from the first term to the 45th term, so or is 1 in this scenario. Okay, because if I fill in or is 1, I get 4 times 1 minus 2. If I'm just going to get rid of the thing, okay? So this is my series. If I fill in or is 1, I get 4 1s minus 2, which is 2. So when or is 1, I get my first term. Okay, so or goes from 1 to 45 in that question.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah.
So, example 2. So for what value of n is the sum of 3 or minus 5 from 1 to n 90? Okay, so they're telling me for what value of n is the sum of this thing equal to 90? So remember, sigma means the sum of, so I'm going to need my Sn formula. But before I use my Sn formula, I need to actually figure out what is my series. Okay, so my series is 3 or minus 5, and or goes from 1 up to n. So I can fill in 1, 2, 3, 4 and get a series of numbers that I can work with. Okay, so to get my series, I'm going to do, so 3 times 1 minus 5, 3 times 2 minus 5, and 3 times 3. I'm just going to do a few terms. I'll do that many. Okay, so my series is minus 2, 6 take 5, 9 take 5, and 12 take 5. Okay, this is my series of numbers all the way up to 3n minus 5. I'm not interested in that, I don't really need it. What I need to know is my series of numbers. So the question is, for what value of n, so basically find n, is the sum equal to 90? So what that's telling me is Sn equals 90. So just like one that we had for homework, we need to find what value of n gives our sum equal to 90. So that would mean using this formula, okay, if you remember, n over 2, 2a, this is my a, and my difference is, what do I have to add on each time or take away each time? Okay, so my difference is 3. So throw it into your sum formula, n over 2, 2a plus n minus 1 times d equals 90.
Miss,
Yeah.
you know, for the difference, do you add the minus or the plus if it depends on whether you take it away or add it on?
No, so it's t2 minus t1. So that's 1 minus 2. Okay, so don't worry about whether you're adding or not. You're always doing t2 minus t1. Okay, so minus for minus is plus, so that's where your 3 came from. Okay, so back over here, just keep tidying up. That's minus 4. 3 by n is 3n. 3 by minus 1 is minus 3 equals 90. Okay, n over 2, 3n minus 7 equals 90. Now remember, that 2 is at the bottom of this side, so it comes up to the top of the other. So I get 90 by 2, which is 180, multiply it out, 3n squared minus 7n, and I know I have a quadratic again, minus 180 equals 0. You're going to factorise, or you're going to do your minus b, and you'll get two answers. Now, that's wrong for two reasons. First of all, it can't be a minus. We're not talking about the minus 10th term, okay? Terms have to be positive, and also they have to be natural, okay? So you can't have a rational number. It needs to be a whole number, the 5th term, the 6th term. You can't have anything in between that. So basically, for what value of n is the sum of this equal to 90? Well, when n is 9. Okay, if you were to add the first 9 terms, you would get 90. That's what that's telling you there. Okay, and just one more example if you've no questions on that one. You alright? Okay, example 3 then. Find the value of the sum of 4 or minus 1 from 1 to 8. So this is just straightforward. Find the value of that, okay? Now again, you need to get your series of numbers, okay? And then we're looking for the sum of 8 terms. So my series of numbers is going to be 4 1s minus 1, 4 2s, 4 3s, and so on. Okay? So that's my first term, second term, third term. 3 plus 7 plus 11. Okay? Now I'm looking for the sum of from 1 to 8, okay, so that's 8 terms, so I can do S of 8 basically. Yes, I know you could just keep going and add on the first 8 terms, but we need to be able to do it in case they're asking us for much bigger numbers, okay, so S of 8, it's going to be n over 2, 2a, okay, plus n minus 1 times d. So all I've done is I've filled in my n, which is 8, my a, which is 3, and my d, which is 4. And just throw it into your calculator, and you get 136. Okay, so the value of this whole thing, which is telling you the sum of 4 or minus 1 from 1 to 8, is 136.